Today I'm going to look at the Wallabies attacking structure using a sequence of 3 phases, the second time the Wallabies had the ball in Christchurch. So first phase, the scrum's going backwards, which doesn't help. Ball to Gitto, who just shuffles it straight to Drew Mitchell, who runs straight and hard, but the All Black defence is waiting for him. He makes no ground and then is pushed backwards. Second phase, one out runner in Ben Robinson, pretty ineffective, again not much ground made. Third phase, Genny is waiting, but gives it to Gitto, who just shuffles it straight to Sharp. Again, a good, strong, hard run, but not a lot of ground made. So you can see from here that the scrum starts at the top of the white Christchurch sign. Now it's early in the game, so the All Black defence is fresh, but so is the Wallabies attack. If you're not going to have a crack and try something here, when are you? And now over a series of 3 phases, you can see from the line that's here, the Wallabies made about a metre. And that's about what's happening with the Wallabies attack. They're not trying anything, they're not making any impact, and they're not making any ground. They're using a lot of one-out runners who are receiving the ball a long way from the line. It's making it easy for the defence to get organised, shut them down. So let's look at each of the phases to see what's happening and where improvements can be made. So we'll look at the first phase, and what I'll be looking at is whether the Wallabies can get over the gain line, which is basically where the ball started from the previous phase. You can see there that Genny received the ball just over the halfway line. When Mitchell takes the ball forward, he gets to basically the gain line and he's then driven back a little bit. What I want to look at then in some more detail is where's he receiving the ball in relation to that gain line and where's he making contact with the defence. Let's start by establishing the gain line. It's basically at the back of the scrum, and that's the line he's got to get over to have made ground. Then let's look at the ball line, where he receives the ball. And you can see from here that it's about 5 metres away from the gain line. Now the issue with that is that the time it takes for Gitto to catch the ball, shuffle it on, and Mitchell to run that 5 metres, the All Black defence has got time to get organised and shut him down. And because he's a one-out runner, there's no real threat there. Very easy for the defence to be dominant. Now let's have a look at the second phase, and Robinson as a one-out runner. His body height is too high, allows the All Blacks to get in, make a dominant tackle. The other thing is, as soon as he's hit, he goes to ground. Whereas if he could have stayed on his feet and the other players had driven him through, they would have made more ground. Let's look at the third phase, which is again is a simple one-out runner. So Gitto gets the ball, shuffles it straight to Sharp. Now although Pocock is outside him, it never looks like he's going to pass. He's received the ball a long way away from the contact line, so again the All Blacks defence has been able to move onto him. They know exactly who's running and they shut him down. So we can see Sharp's starting position. The other thing the Wallabies have been doing is using one or a number of players up close to the ruck as a decoy. But they're not moving, they're static, so they're not attracting any defenders and taking any pressure off the ball carrier. So now let's look at the gain line for this particular phase, and you can see it's almost where the original scrum started. So in the first 2 phases we've gone nowhere. Sharp receives the ball a fair way away from the gain line. Again, it gives the defence time to get organised. And then you'll see that the contact line in this point is actually short of the gain line. So when Sharp actually makes contact, he then carries the defenders over the gain line, and of the 3 phases, this is the only one that really made any ground, albeit a small gain. Another area the Wallabies need to improve in is in committing defenders before they pass the ball to the next player. In this case, it doesn't help that the scrum's going backwards, but because Genny comes across field, he doesn't commit the New Zealand back row. So in this case it's Richie McCaw, who simply follows Genny, runs across field, and he became the tackler for the next phase. What Genny needed to do was take even 2 or 3 steps forward, then pass the ball. That would have held McCaw in position and given his support player some room. Similarly on this phase, it's Gitto that runs across field and gives the ball to Sharp. Now Gitto's defender originally started in this position, but because Gitto came across field, the defender then does the same thing. He drifts across and he actually becomes the guy that tackles Sharp. What Gitto needed to do again was to come forward 2 or 3 paces, even going slightly sideways, then deliver to Sharp. That would have held his defender in position and given Sharp some space to attack. Sometimes as you go through a sequence of phases, it's necessary for slow ball, to reset your attacking structure after something's gone wrong or broken down. But generally, quick ball is what breaks down opposition defence. Now this is the second phase we've been looking at, and you can see that Genny is ready to go now. He wanted quick ball, but the attack wasn't realigned. That's a general problem with the Wallabies. They need to get in position faster and give Genny the quick ball option. The final thing I want to talk about is pattern of play, and there doesn't seem to be any with the Wallabies. On this first phase, they come right into the midfield. On the second phase, they take the ball back left, and Robinson runs into the All Blacks coming from the scrum. On the third phase, they come back to the right again. To me, it seems to be all over the shop. Whilst I'm not calling for totally structured play, there needs to be some sort of pattern to work on moving the defence around. You can see the disorganisation in the Wallaby attack on the phase that came after the ones we've looked at. Genia passes, and there's any number of players standing around. He passed out in front of Fainga, who didn't run onto the ball. There just seems to be disorganisation. So hopefully this weekend, with Quag Cooper coming back, the Wallabies are going to play a little bit flatter, receive the ball closer to the gain line. There'll be a little more organisation and a little bit of innovation.